Hi there, it's Kevin Ward with Yes Masters Real Estate Success Training and bringing you this month's special episode of Interviews with the Best, where we interview top performers in real estate who not only know how to make a lot of money, but also who believe in delivering the best service for their clients and having a life. And our interview today is with our special guest, Peggy Yee from Vienna, Virginia. And Peggy has been in our, she's been in my inner circle, in our Yes Masters inner circle now for 4 years. So Peggy, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Great. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Absolutely. So let's just start with kind of where everything began and kind of go back to your beginnings of how you got into real estate, how long you've been in real estate, and just kind of bring us up from the beginning to your journey in real estate.
So I've been an agent for 8 years now. This is actually a second career for me. So I definitely wasn't expecting to be an agent. My background's actually, I have a PhD in civil engineering. And so I thought, I was going to be a civil engineer, do research and all of that kind of stuff. And I started working for the government since I'm right outside of Washington, D.C. And my husband and I were trying to buy our first place. And I ended up having just a horrible experience with this agent. He was complete amateur, did not know what he was doing. And I put the short story is I put an offer in on a short sale, and my agent told me that I could move out of my place. So I told my landlord, oh, we're moving. My apartment got re-rented. Of course, at the time, I didn't know that short sales never go through, and they never go through on time. And so my apartment was re-rented, and I didn't have a place to live. So, we ended up, moving in with my husband's sister, so my sister-in-law and her 3 kids for a year before we even bought another place. And just that whole experience, I was like, you are messing with people's lives. And I wanted to know exactly what was supposed to happen. So I decided to get my real estate license, and just for myself. And then I started helping, friends and family do it. My husband and I were always interested in, real estate for investment. And so it just made sense, and I fell in love with it, and, decided to quit my full-time job and do real estate full-time. So that's how I ended up in real estate.
So you started out 8 years ago. Did you start out, when you got into it, you did not start full-time?
No, when I was probably part-time for 2 or 3 years there. And yeah, just, lots of nights and weekends, lunch hour, that kind of thing. So.
And you've been full-time now for 6 years?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, cool. And then tell me how you found Yes Masters, how you found Kevin Ward and Yes Masters.
Yeah, so basically I Googled listing presentation, because I was going on these listing appointments and I was never getting them, and I didn't know what to say when I got there. So it was just kind of okay, you want to sell your house? And I just kept losing out on listing appointments, and I didn't know what to do. And so I was like, oh, well, let me look on YouTube and see what's there. And I started watching your videos, and then just kept watching all the videos that you were producing. And that's kind of how I found you. So on YouTube.
So found it on YouTube, and then you started coaching. Did you start by coming to an event, or did you start with a coaching program, or how'd you get started?
Yeah, I started, the first thing I did was the 100-day challenge. So I started a 100-day challenge, and then finished that, and then kind of went away from it a little bit. And then I think it was by fate, because I was thinking, I really have to get back into more of the coaching and stuff. And at that point, you just happened to be coming to DC. I think it was your first East Coast event. Mm-hmm. You just happened to be coming to my backyard the following week. So I was like, this is a sign. I need to go and meet you in person. And that's kind of when, I think that's when I joined the inner circle as well. And just realized that this is exactly what I needed.
And if I remember correctly, for our inner circle, you joined the inner circle, and then we had the mixture. You brought your, David came, your husband, and your 2 kids, came to them. Was that one, or was that another one?
That was at the second one.
That was the second. Yeah. You have the cutest kids I've ever seen in my life. We'll talk more about family and all of that and so forth. You've been in the inner circle for 4 years. So tell us about kind of how your business has grown during that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I mean, I think originally I was really lucky because I had a really great broker that was like mentoring me at the beginning and like giving me leads and all of that kind of stuff. And so I had a little base, but then I felt like I had reached this plateau and I just like didn't know how to grow anymore. I just kept like working with buyers and like the income was there, but then I couldn't like get past, a certain point. And ever since I'm joining coaching, I think just the whole, like the mentality, the mindset, what I need to be working on, how I need to structure my business, like all of that, just like, and really how to approach the business from just being an amateur to actually being a pro and like being professional and all in. I think that mindset shift really helped me then kind of take it to the next level. So that's, I think, probably the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 4 years is just like, what do you need to do to become a pro? Are you doing this as a pro or are you doing this as an amateur?
Yeah. So how much has your business grown through coaching, would you say?
Oh, probably like at least 4x my income. I like keep making more money every year. And it's funny because like I've taken other training classes and I remember another trainer saying to me, oh yeah, people double their income all the time. And I was like, that is absolutely not true. Like people don't do that, and then I see it all the time now. And so it's like, oh yeah, you can totally do that. So, and that happens like to me, it was like, can you actually make an extra 100,000 from your previous job? Because, coming from me having like a government job, right? It was like, if you made an extra like 10,000, that was like amazing. Yeah. Just the thought of going to another 100,000 from the previous year was just like, I can't do that. But then I've done it, several times now. And so it's like, it's just, that kind of growth is just amazing. And it's like real estate's one of the few places that you can actually do that in. So
absolutely. And the reality, like you said, is most agents don't do that. I was reading the new NAR numbers from 2017 and 2018 came out recently. And the median income for real estate agents in the United States, the median gross commission income, means the total amount of money they made in commissions, was just barely over 40,000 in 2018. And you've been a multiple six-figure plus award winner, which is the award we give out to Yes Masters for increasing your income by over 6 figures from the previous year. Your income is well over 10x what the median is, and you still have a life now. So like, how many hours a week do you typically work to run your business? Because you have 2 small children, you're married, David, your husband, have a great marriage. I can testify to that because we see you guys together in our inner circle. And then you have these beautiful 2 little children that their energy, it just reflects their parents so well. Tell us first, how many hours a week do you typically work?
I probably work about 50 hours a week now. And that's actually that's down because I have my full-time assistant now. And so he handles a lot of my buyer showings and a lot of the weekend stuff now. So I've been able to do a lot more with the kids on the weekends. So
awesome. Yeah. And do you work from home or do you have an office?
I work from home.
You work from home. So are you at home, like this, your home office?
Yeah.
That you're in right now? Nice. Yep. Your home office is so much nicer and cleaner than mine. That is great. I love that. So you mentioned, let's go back to your education, because you are highly educated. You have a PhD in civil engineering from Stanford University, no less. So when I heard that, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a brain. But a lot of people look at real estate and they go like, what's a good career path? Should I go to college or should I get into real estate? Or they go to college and they go like, well, I spent all this money and 4 years to get a degree. Now you spent obviously a lot more than 4 years to get a PhD. But what would you tell somebody who is like right now comparing and kind of like weighing, should I go and invest a couple of $100,000 to get a degree, or to go back to school to get a master's degree or a doctorate degree? Would that help me make more money, or building a successful real estate career be a path? If you were doing it again, what would you tell somebody who goes like, Peggy, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I definitely don't regret getting my degree because I think like all of the things that I learned like through doing research, like through like all of that kind of stuff, like definitely helps me as like a real estate agent, as an entrepreneur, right? Like all of that. But I guess I would say because when I went through there was just no doubt like from like my family's very academic, so there was just no doubt that I was going to go get a PhD, so like I just went and did it without really thinking about what was the next step after that. So I guess my advice to people with that is, what do you actually think you're going to do with your degree? Like, because if you're there to like, if you're there thinking that you're going to make a lot more money after your degree, like like real estate is definitely a better way to make money than having that kind of job. But if you're there because you want to like be like an expert in a specific system and then start a company related to that system, like something like that where you need the technical knowledge or something, then I would pursue an academic career if that's like really what you want. If it's just like making money, or like there's definitely a lot of other ways to make money without a college degree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally. People ask me that question, is college or real estate or both? And I can speak just like you from a position of, I have a master's degree. My parents were both highly educated. My mom had a master's degree. My dad has his doctorate degree as well. And so I came from a place where you were going to go to college. And so I went the same way. And yet I look back at the money that I spent for getting my college education, and then how much did that make me, and realize that if you want to have a business that you control your business, you have control of your life, and you get to control your income. Real estate allows you to have flexibility and do things you can't do using just your education to go into a job field and so forth. And you're an example of that the education definitely helps you. Mm-hmm. Having the education helps you be better, helps you be smarter. But it was not the ticket. You didn't need a PhD to be able to succeed in real estate.
Right. I think it's more the skills, right? Because like even with my kids, like, I talked to my husband about that. Like I do want them to go to college, but I think it's more, I want them to learn how to like ask questions, be curious, like learn those skills.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to go work for somebody. Like I hope they don't go work for somebody, like then they can, but they have that knowledge of how to learn how to solve problems, because that's really what you're there for. So.
Totally. So when you started real estate, what was your biggest frustration, biggest challenge? I love the fact that you got it. I want to say this because I really liked what you said, that you said you realized with the experience that you guys had with having an amateur agent who didn't really represent you guys well. You said you're messing with people's lives. And I think that's really an important distinction for real estate agents to understand, is this isn't just, it's not like a traditional sales job where I'm selling refrigerators, or I'm selling cell phones, or I'm selling, big screen TVs, or even life insurance. Because if you sell life insurance, it doesn't change people's lives whether they have that day, whether they have it or not. But when you're helping somebody with a real estate transaction, it's a life transition. And if you don't represent them well and you leave them hanging or leave them homeless, like you guys actually ended up being homeless, it's a massive trauma in your life. Your whole life is put on hold. So I think that's really a big deal. So as you started and as you look at real estate, what do you see as the responsibility of a real estate agent?
For me, I think it's education, like educating the client on what the generally acceptable practices are, what are how do you, for one is, because for them, it may have been their first time that they've bought a house or sold a house. They have no idea, or they have like all these preconceived notions that you don't know where they came from, right, about how it works. And it's really just educating them on, okay, these are the options. This is what I recommend that you do. Obviously, the choice is up to them ultimately, but I think you're there really to educate them on these are the best practices, and this is how you get your home sold for top dollar, or this is how you buy your dream house. Because they don't know. And I think that was my problem, was like, I didn't know anything. And then the agent didn't tell me anything. And so that's where we ran into so many problems. So I think one is just like being knowledgeable and educating them on like like what this transaction is, what it means, all of that. And then really just guiding them, being there, being there for them to answer any questions, taking care of stuff for them. Because I see it the same way as like, if I were to hire like an attorney or a CPA, right? I don't need to know everything they're doing, but I need to know that they're on top of it and they're doing their job. So for me, I tell my clients, like, let me be your easy button, because I don't want you to be coordinating all this stuff where I know everybody, so I'm going to do it for you. That's why you're hiring me.
I love
that. That's how I see my role. Yeah.
You're the easy button. I love it.
Yes.
So you're not only educating them, but you're also guiding them to help them make the right decisions, to help them take the right actions and steps so that they actually get the best and to help them get those best results.
Yeah. So like, for example, like for a lot of my buyers right now in our market, it's like totally a seller's market. Like people are waiving contingencies left and right, escalation clauses, all of that stuff. So during my buyer consultation, I tell them about like, this is what you need to do to win an offer. I don't want you like it's like the day before a deadline trying to figure out if you want to waive a home inspection, right? I'd rather have that conversation 3 weeks before to say, okay, these are the pros and cons of waiving. This is what's happening in the market, so that they can make an informed decision, whatever they want to do, but at least it's not under like this pressure of like, oh my God, I need to submit an offer tomorrow. What do I do? So
it also gives them peace of mind. So they're not, because stress and fear causes people to make bad decisions.
Yeah. Or they regret it later. And you never want to have that. So yeah.
For sure. I love that. So back to when you were getting started, what do you look back on was your biggest struggle as a new agent? What was the hardest thing for you?
I think the hardest thing was knowing what to do. I feel like, there's because like anybody can get a real estate license, right? But there's no training on like what to do. And so I think personally, I was really lucky because my broker, he's still my current broker. He was really good at doing like one-on-one mentoring with me. So I remember like he helped me with my very first listing. And I remember talking to him and he was like, oh, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? I'm like, I didn't even know I had to do any of that stuff. Right. So you're like, just don't know anything. And, I think it got to the point where like he was very good at he was successful as an agent, but just more naturally successful and not as good with like systems or doing some of that kind of stuff. And so that's when I was looking for more coaching of more of a systematic way to approach the listing presentation versus just talking to a seller, those kinds of things. And so I think that was a big, it was a challenge for me to kind of just have the knowledge and the training of what to do.
Yeah. Awesome. So break down your business for us, the way you built it, because you're not somebody who goes out and does a lot of the, you're not a cold caller. You're not somebody who goes out and you don't spend a ton of money on like geographic farming or marketing. So tell us where your business comes from and kind of how you built it and why you like the way you've done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so for me, so I started out because like my broker again was giving me a lot of leads and his leads were all coming from like online stuff. So I started out in that whole kind of online like market where somebody submits, a question or they want to go see a house or something like that. And so that's kind of where I started. And then I've kind of grown that part of my business as well. So, my husband, David, he helps me with a lot of like blogging. And so we do a lot of online stuff. So I think that's one source is online. Really like one of my focuses is to like establish myself as an authority when people search for, homes in Vienna or, in whatever city nearby, that kind of thing. And so because through that, I've actually gotten a lot of out of state sellers, right? Because out of state sellers, they don't know anybody. So they're looking online. And so if you establish yourself as a presence and as an authority online, then, they'll call. So I think that's been a good source for me. And that's why I like doing a lot more of the inbound, marketing, because then they already know you, they've already researched you. And then you get those leads. And then just kind of then as being an agent throughout the years, then growing my Vortex and just, keeping in contact with my past clients. I do 3 client appreciation events a year to keep in touch with my clients. And then I've been doing a lot of networking as well. So I am part of a networking group. They meet twice a month. And I mean, that takes a little bit longer. You have to get into the right group, but that's given me definitely several referrals within the last, 2 years has been a lot of networking. And the networking, I think, is also great because the first time I meet with like a seller or a buyer, I tell them I have everybody you might ever need because I know everybody. So then they're not like randomly looking on Yelp or like Craigslist for like a home inspector or whoever, you don't know, but then I have people that I vetted already. So.
Awesome. Okay. So let's go back to these. So you talked about networking, you talked about your personal circle, your vortex, so the people that you know, repeat and referral business. And then you talk about blogging and doing online lead generation through that. So let's start with blogging, because a lot of agents are like, how do I blog successfully? So you actually get business, including, you said, a lot of absentee owners who are becoming listings that find you online. So if I was going to, and as a real estate agent, I want to start blogging, what are the 2 or 3 keys to successful blogging to get business?
I think the key one is for blogging for sellers. So what I found is doing market reports have been really helpful because like sellers all want to know their home value, right? And so like they want to know what's going on in the market. And so I think that's been a really big thing for me is doing a lot of market reports. So if you guys go on Active Rain, like I blog a lot on Active Rain. And so you can see all my market reports. So that's pretty much like where I'm blogging a lot, like other places like just like local online avenues like we have one called Patch. I think it's actually nationwide, like the patch.com, but you can become like a contributor. And so then I've been blogging there. So, so different places like that where people are going for just more information. Yeah.
That Patch is kind of like an online newspaper or something like
that.
Local?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a local newspaper. So then you can blog on there. So. And then so a link back to, so basically I link back to my ClickFunnels site and for like get your home value, or I've also added one that's get your sign up for my monthly market update there. And so then if they want more information, then I can keep in contact with them. But, providing that value up front of thinking about, okay, what does the seller want to know about? Like, because they're either, typing it into Google. I've been trying to grow my YouTube channel for the past couple of years as well, because I think that's, video is obviously where it's going. This year alone, I have a deal closing on Tuesday that they found me. I'm pretty sure they found me online because when I went to the listing appointment, she had my YouTube video like printed out. So I know she like was watching it there. And I have another active buyer that found me on YouTube and signed a buyer's agreement. So
wow.
Yeah. So I think YouTube that's really where I'm focused on lately, is just generating like good content, educational content. I think that goes back to my whole like approach is like educate them first, provide good content, then they'll want to work with you.
So can we give people, if they want to find your YouTube channel, can you tell them where to go?
Yes, I don't have a short name yet. So if you subscribe, then I can get 100 subscribers, then I can get a short name. So, but okay. Yeah.
But where would they just look up? What do they look up?
Yeah, I think if you just Google Peggy Yee Realtor, I should pop up. So and it's really because I brand, all of my videos. So it should be clear that which ones are the real estate ones.
So if they go look up Peggy Yee, YEE Realtor on YouTube, they'll be able to find your channel and kind of just check out the strategy of what you do to give great information, great content to potential sellers and potential buyers in your market.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there also, if I get, I'm getting more like seller and buyer testimonials on video. So then I have a playlist of like, hear what sellers are saying about me, hear what buyers are saying about me. So then when I send, my pre-listing package, I'll send them all the YouTube playlists so they can see, my past testimonials and stuff like that.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to check out your blog, where would they go?
So blogging, let's see. Yeah, I think Active Rain is mainly, if they wanted to look me up on Active Rain, that's mainly where I'm blogging.
Okay. Do you have like your own website where you put your blogs?
Yeah, well, it's I'm in between them right now. So yeah, but they can also go to like PeggyYee.com is my main website right now.
So that's your main website.
Yeah.
Cool. And I know you're continually upgrading and innovating the strategy.
Yeah, I'm testing something else right now. So I'll tell you if it works later.
All right. Fair enough. Because I love the fact that you're constantly innovating. You're not just doing the same thing over and over. Times are changing and you're evolving and innovating with the market.
Yeah.
So that is great. Because when I started real estate back in the 1900s, we didn't have YouTube. It didn't even exist, But by the time I started my coaching company, we started Yes Masters. We had it. That's how you found me. And that's how, countless other realtors have found me. Well, it's also now how more and more prospects and leads can find you. So I love that. So then you talked about your personal circle, or what we call the real estate vortex, which is building your relationships. So tell us about kind of your strategy of taking the people that you know and getting business from the people that you know.
Well, so like calling them regularly, just all of the stuff that you've taught us in terms of like calling them. I'd like to do a lot of the client appreciation parties, because I do think that, yeah, like you're giving back, you're appreciating them, but then it's also like top of mind awareness. So then that also gives you another reason to call them as well. It's like, oh, I want to invite you to a party, because, you don't necessarily want every time like they see your name, like, oh, she's like calling me for a referral or something. But if it's like, oh, maybe she's calling to invite me to another party, that kind of thing, then they appreciate that. And it's always, it's really fun. And so that's one way that I can just keep top of mind awareness with them. And then when I call people too, I always ask them, oh, what else, like, can I help you with anything? And even like, because of the networking that I do, like, if, like, let's say, I have a client that like needs a website, not something like totally not related to real estate, but if I have a website person that I can refer them to, they're going to be appreciative of that and hopefully remember me when, when the time comes that they need to buy or sell, or a friend needs to do that. So
100%.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you do 3 client appreciation events a year. Do you mind walking us through like an example of what one of your event is? How many people do you invite? And what kind of, like, does that actually give you business? How does that work?
Yeah. So the spring one, actually just had the spring one a couple weeks ago, and that's at a winery, a local winery. So I invite like all of my past clients, like my A team, people that current clients, everybody pretty much, because one, it doesn't cost that much for an extra person, anyways, right? And lately, I've been also telling people, hey, feel free to bring a friend, right? Because then that just grows my personal circle as well. So I think the more the merrier. So this time around, I had about 50 people come to the winery. Okay. It was great. I have resulted in one listing referral that just went on the listing appointment the other day. They're still waiting to make a decision, but that definitely like a strong listing. And it was somebody that he's definitely an A team, because he's like, you keep inviting me to these parties. I am like looking for somebody for you because you're so nice to like keep inviting me. So, doing that, the client appreciation party that way, I think people like appreciate it, right? Then they want to return the favor. Yeah. And let's see. And then this time around, I also did a little like questionnaire there, just asking people like a little bit more information about themselves. Like, what's your favorite restaurant that you like to go to? What kind of events do you want to see me do in the future? So just getting some more information just from my clients so I can like better tailor it in the future. But the other thing that there's 2 other questions I put on that questionnaire. That one was that I'm doing a lot more seminars. So seminars at the library, like I've been doing like downsizing seminar, home selling and home buying seminars. So I asked on there like, oh, what seminars would you be interested in? So now I know which of my clients might be interested in buying investment properties and things like that, right? Because since they checked off the box. So just getting more information from them that way. And then also asking if they know anybody that's buying or selling. And so I had one of my current clients, she wrote down 2 names. So she told me like, yeah, they'd be interested next year. So just kind of planting the seed, at least in their minds, of who else they can refer to me.
Yeah. Well, I know you've been doing this now for 2 or 3 years, the client appreciation events.
Yeah.
You do a pie giveaway.
Right. So I have the spring winery. And then the summer last year I did a brewery. So I did it at a brewery, which was nice. I'm still trying to figure out the right timing for everything because the summer one is always my like least attended one because everybody's on vacation or something, this and that. So I'm still trying to figure out what's the best time to do that one, but sometime in the summer, right? So you just kind of want them evenly spaced out so you touch them evenly. So there, and then my pie event is at my house in November.
Okay, and you actually basically make pies for everybody or order pies for everybody, and they come and pick them up.
Right, exactly. So they come pick them up. I tell them, hey, I have little kids, so bring your kids and they can all play in the basement, that kind of thing, and just kind of open up the house and we just have people over. I tell them, yeah, you can come anytime between 4 and 7, and I have like food and snacks and stuff like that, and then they can pick up their pie. So. And
you actually get deals from this consistently.
Yeah, definitely. Because then, I like one of my past clients, they're now looking for an investment property. I've had 2 other people, refer me their friends this year already. So I think just the keeping in touch with them and just showing value, then it's great. Yeah.
And we've been doing this now and teaching this for years, for the last 3 or 4 years with what we call the real estate vortex. And you've been one of those, like many of our other Inner Circle members, who literally, if you invest $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, and that's a lot for a party like that, and yet you get 3 or 4 or 5 deals over the year from that one party, one event. And what we're seeing is consistently a 10x return on investment. That if you spend $2,000, you making $20,000 is nothing. Getting a couple of deals and so forth. So it's just really, really cool that you do that. Now because you got everything you're saying, you're adding something else. I'm like, oh, we need to talk about this. So tell us about your seminars, because this is something that I think most agents have heard of, first-time buyer seminars, but you do something different. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So also through my networking, I was able to meet the lady that coordinates the seminars for our local library. And so I was able to do a seminar. Like, I've been doing home selling seminars. So last year I did a home selling seminar, which resulted in 2 listings, which was great. So I really like this time because they get a chance to know you. They get it. It's almost like a listing presentation, right? Without the pressure of with being right in their home, like trying to ask them to sign a contract, because then they follow up with you afterwards. Or they like what they hear. Last year, one of the guys that came to my seminar, he actually had his house on the market with a discount agent. And it was funny because one of my slides is like, this is what you don't want to do. And that's like exactly what was happening to him. And so he was like, oh my God, I really need you right now. And so I ended up getting it sold for him. So I think the seminar was really good, just to be able to show like who you are and how you're approaching this. And then you can talk about your stats and all that kind of stuff. And it's not like, it's like promotional, right? Because you're really telling them, okay, this is what you need to get your house sold. So it's educational. And then if they want to contact you afterwards, then it's a great way to follow up and just touch them there. So I've been doing home selling seminar. I've been doing downsizing seminars. And so
the key there, be a seller seminar. It would also be basically a seminar where you're targeting sellers.
Yeah.
They own a house and they're going to be selling it and then buying a smaller house.
Yeah, exactly. Because last year I did one downsizing seminar, and then it was good because I already planned out when my home selling seminar was. So the home selling seminar was a month later than the downsizing seminar, and because I did the downsizing one, and I asked, like, anybody have questions, and everybody had questions about how to sell their house, and so I was like, okay, well, come to my home selling seminar. So like 6 people came to the downsizing one, and then 3 of them came back to my home selling one. So that's already 2 touches, right? For just meeting somebody that they're thinking about selling. So that was good. I actually did a home buying seminar with one of my lenders the other day, and that resulted in a buyer that we're working with right now. And so I just think, like, a lot of times, people want the information, but they don't want to commit yet, right? And so the seminars are a really great way to get them to know you. And plus they're coming to me, right? So then I don't have to, be going off everywhere. But if I can get like six to 10 people in a room, if I can convert one of them, then, that's great. So.
And so you did this last round and you got 2 listings out of it.
Right.
So let's break down the numbers here. Because first, how many people need to show up at a seminar to make it worthwhile for you?
Not that many, right? Because of one, the library is free, right? So they actually do most of the marketing for you, right? Because it's like all on their website. People are looking on there for educational things, and so they're doing it. I send them my flyer. They put it up at the library, and so you're not really. I guess I could do more marketing for it, but they've been doing most of the marketing, and you get one, and it was just an hour and a half of your time to do the seminar.
Well, I remember the first one you did, you had like 1 or 2 people show up.
Yeah, I didn't have exactly. It was like 3 people and I got 2 of the listings. So that was like definitely my best one there. But
and so basically it's free to do it, just a couple hours of your time. And so in those 2 deals, as an example, what was your total commissions? Do you remember approximately from those 2 deals?
Probably like 30,000.
So
total.
A couple of hours invested, put together this, the library helps do the marketing. I know you've worked with financial planners.
Right. That first one I actually did with a financial planner. So she was the one, she actually has her list. It was like her list of people that she had invited and ended up doing that. So
that's so good. And then you make 1 listing out of it, it's $10,000-$15,000, or 2 listings, $30,000, because you leverage relationships. You added value to people without pressure, and you didn't get attached to the fact that I only had 2-3 people show up, I'm a failure. Which I think that would be my struggle, is if 3 people showed up, I'd go like, man, people are going to think I'm not that good because only 3 people showed up. But the value is still there in what you deliver, and so you get the deals.
Right. And I approached it as, since this was my first time doing it, I was like, okay, 3 people, that's pretty good. Next time I could just get more. But then at least I know when I'm talking, how to do one. Right. So yeah, I think how you say, just treat everything as an experiment. Right. And so I was like, okay, well, let me do it this way and let's see what happens. So. But
it's consistently brought you business every time you've done it.
Yeah. They're definitely qualified leads, because nobody, that's the thing, who's going to come spend an hour at the library if they're not actually seriously thinking about downsizing or going to a home, selling their home. So
yeah. And when they downsize, they're selling and buying. And by the time they're done, you've given so much value, you're their agent.
Right. Because in their mind, exactly what's going to happen. Right. So they're not searching around for somebody else. Yeah.
I love that. That is so good. Now, as you're doing this, so when you first started, you were working mostly with leads generated online by your broker and given to you. So you're working mostly with buyers, but now you've transitioned to where a lot of your business is listings. Kind of what percentage of your deals are buyers and what percentage are sellers now?
Well, last year was about 50-50. So I did 32 deals last year. I think that was 15 listings, 17 buyers. And then right now it's buyer heavy, just because I have a lot of buyers in the pipeline that couldn't find anything, since it's a seller's market right now. So I have a lot of buyers that many of them have just gone under contract. So that's been good.
Congratulations. So but almost all your business comes from relationships.
Yeah. Almost all of these deals were past clients that had referred me friends.
So
or past clients. Yeah.
So you don't cold call, you don't prospect for sell by owners and expireds really anymore at all.
Yeah.
Right. So do you still prospect?
Yeah. Well, I prospect in terms of calling my Vortex. I do a lot of just working the online stuff, because then people with the online ones, then I'm following up with them, and that's a time sensitive thing, right? You're calling them right away, all of that kind of stuff. But the good thing is all of those leads that come online are almost always seller leads.
Okay. So people that don't know what the Vortex is, because they don't know what that means. So people that are watching this, some of them won't know. So what does that mean? What does it mean you're calling your Vortex?
Yeah, so basically my sphere of influence, your personal circle, right? So everybody that you've met. So I'll call, like all of my past clients, depending on, like how you teach us like the A, B, and C. So if they're like an A teamer, I'll call them once a month. The B team, you're calling them once a quarter. So a lot of my clients are like, they're not going to be like referring you a deal like all the time, right? But I think the combination of like my client appreciation event, like that's a phone call, then you see them, right? That's another touch. Then you're calling them for the next client appreciation event, then you're seeing them, like over time, right? You're keeping in front of them. And so just keeping in front of the people that you already know, and then having them contact you or refer you.
So
Yeah.
a large majority of your business, the mass of your business comes from people you know. Either they use you or they refer you. What would you say is to somebody who's like, how do I get the people that know me to give me business? Why do you get so much business from people that know you? What are the secrets to building those relationships, the secrets to making people trust you, that getting people to refer you?
I think it's asking. One, like just like asking for the business is probably number one, because I think people want to help you, but they don't know that you're looking for more business, that you can handle more business. Like they see you, they're like, oh, maybe I thought she was too busy, or, that kind of thing. Or they just forget, I think a lot of times, I was telling somebody else about this, like your clients, like a lot of my clients work for like are W-2, they like work for somebody, they don't have to generate their own leads. It's not something that comes naturally to people to refer, unless like you're another small business and how hard it is to like generate business. Then you're always like, okay, how do I pay it forward? How do I help you, help me, all of that. That's like not, but most of our past clients are all like very, like they are employees. It's not something that they normally do. And so I think it is educating them on, or just asking them like, hey, do you have a family member, who is looking to buy, sell, or invest? And just asking. Yeah. And then I think you ask enough times, or you see them at the client appreciation party, like they understand like, okay, yeah, I really need to, find somebody for her, or, she is looking for more business.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you ask, and then you also do things for them like pies and like parties. So they don't feel like you're just gimme. You're not just asking to get something. You're asking, but you're also doing it in a relationship where you're also serving them.
Right.
Doing good.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So how important is it being likable? Because I mean, I know you're super likable.
Yeah.
You're super friendly and happy. How important is that?
Like likable to
get people to want to give you business.
I think, I think it's important, but like, because if they don't like you, they're not going to refer you, for sure. But, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like, for me, like in terms of prospecting and, stuff like that, I guess, because even though I put out a lot of YouTube videos, and I think a lot of agents are like, oh, what do I look like online? What if people don't like it? I'm like, this is what you're going to get. If you're going to like work with me, there's nothing I can do. Like, you're going to find out eventually anyways. So I just put it out there. Like, this is what you get. If you want to work with me, then that's great. So I guess it doesn't really matter to me what other people think about it, but hopefully I'm likable enough that they will refer me.
I love it. Yeah. So you just you be real and so forth. Now so tell us about video. How kind of like consistently, how many videos would you say you do a month? How'd you get over that? Like not being scared of video and so forth. Tell us about that.
I think, so I do at least, I try to do once a week at least. So that's a combination of definitely, my market update is once a month for sure. Because I send that out as part of my email as well. And that's another great touch too, because sometimes like I'll have people in my B team that like, they don't pick up. I haven't talked to them like in like 6 months or something. And when I actually talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, we love your market update. And so so they're reading it, so that's another touch that, you're keeping in front of them. But video, so I do at least once a month, I'll do my market update.
Mhm.
The thing that I've been working on more are like neighborhood, like community tours, or like things of the neighborhood. That I think is not only, you know, just for buyers to learn more about it, but then again, to just establish yourself as an authority in you know, in that neighborhood. So if you have a seller that, you know, if you have a seller that is in that neighborhood and you've done like 5 videos like of that neighborhood, like they're going to know that, you know, what's going on there. And so doing neighborhood videos, and then I'll do a lot of like buyer and seller advice. So, you know, should you waive your home inspection? You know, what does title insurance mean? All of that kind of stuff. So just, you know, and the great thing about video is you do it once and it's up there forever for people to watch, right?
Right.
So I like doing those, and I don't really, I guess I do watch them, but it's like, well, that's just me. So like when I edit it, it's just what it is. So.
Well, one of the things a lot of agents do, I think people just don't get, is when you do a video, people go like, I hate how I look on video. Well, you look the same on video as you look in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just reality. It's like, wait a second, you look that way in life and all your friends like you anyway. So get used to the fact that the way you look on video and the way you sound on video, that's how you sound in real life. And I think that we have this illusion that we actually look better or sound better than we really do. And video just kind of tells you the truth, I guess.
Yeah. And the reality too is like how, like, has how I look affect how I negotiate for you? Like, you know, half the time you never meet the other side, you never meet the other agent, like you don't know. And so it's like whatever I look like does not like have an impact on how well I can get your house sold for top dollar. So, yeah, for sure. You know, so for me, it's like, hey, this is what you get, but I'm going to deliver you results. So.
But they also feel like they know you. When they watch you on video, it's the best way for somebody to feel like get to know you without actually having met you. And so by the time they do meet you, they go like, hey, Peggy, I've been watching you on video. And what they're saying is, I feel like I know you already. So the trust gap has already been closed. They already trust you.
Yep.
And never before has that been as important as it is today in 2019 and beyond, because people are skeptical. They're just like, they don't want to be scammed. They don't want to be ripped off. They don't want to have their heart broken by, you know, people saying they're going to do something and not doing it. So I love that. All right. Networking. Let's talk for a second about networking. Tell us how you approach that and why it works for you.
I guess I like network. Well, so I started out like at a really, like I'd given networking a try for probably about a year before, like I was just about to give up on it, before I actually found a good group. So I started networking because my broker was like, oh, I know this guy, he's having an event. Why don't you go and check it out? And I don't think he even went. He was just like, go and check it out. So I was like, okay. And so then I got into, you know, this networking group. So like how those networking groups are like, you know, you have one seat and that's like the realtor seat. And then you have a lender seat. Every person, right, every occupation has a seat. And, the first one that I went to just wasn't a good like referral group because people weren't bringing guests. People weren't like, how the group grows, right, and gets business is through guests, right? Like you basically are tapping other people's PCs, right? And so, but if you're, and then you bring them into your vortex, you like give them value, right? Then you're just growing the number of people you know. But if you get into a group that, the first group that I joined, didn't bring any guests. And so we would go to the meeting and it would just be the same people. I'm like, you already know what I do. Like, you're already going to refer me, but I need to meet more people. And so, so that group didn't work. And I think I always look at it as a return. Like every year I say, how many deals did I get from this versus the time that I spent going to these meetings, and, you know, what's the real value there? And so I was about to quit and just like not do it anymore because it wasn't giving me any return. And then one of the owners or one of the people that started up this group was like, oh, well, we have our other chapter that the realtor just left. So why don't you come check us out? And that group, I've been in that group for, I think over 2 years now. And it's just amazing. Like, like the title company there is great. Like these are people I would refer anyways, because they're just really good at their jobs. And just like the fact that they're in the group is just kind of a bonus too. And then we've got other people now that they're just like bringing a ton of guests and just a ton of people. So I'm meeting a lot more people that way. And so that's been really good.
Awesome. So I love that if you're going to in a networking group or whatever, if it's not getting you business, change groups. Don't.
Right. Exactly. Like I probably gave it a year, right? But it's just like, yeah, if you're not getting business out of it versus the time, it's just not going to be worth it.
So let's change gears a little bit here. I want to talk about family. I want to talk about having a life. You have 2 young children, your husband works. How do you integrate? And we talk about in our inner circle, we talk about instead of work-life balance, we talk about work-life integration because it's all life. Work is part of your life and so forth. So how do you integrate your work and your life so that you're able to spend time, be a wife and be a mom and be a professional all at the same time? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a lot of time blocking and really focus on focusing on one task at a time, right? So like in the mornings, if I'm, like getting the kids up, getting them breakfast, making them lunch, dropping them off at school, like I'm not doing work, right? Like you can't just be like checking email randomly here or somebody send something here, right? Like it's just kind of like more, I think this time blocking, and 2, I think it's having your systems, like having your routines at home and just trying to streamline everything so the kids are like know what's going on. The worst thing is I think if the kids are like, oh well, what's going on today, and like if they're all confused or they have like a weird bedtime routine or depending on stuff, I think it's a lot of like systems both at work and at home. And then obviously having a very, very understanding spouse. So David is great because, stuff does come up in our business, right? Like if you have a deadline and you need to talk to your client, like that needs to be done, right? And so he's really great with like the kids, or if I have a listing appointment at night or something like that, then we just make it work. So it's a lot of communication. Like every morning it's like, what do you have today? What do we have tomorrow? So everybody knows what the schedule is. So then we can follow it. So.
I love that. So time blocking, being present when you're with your kids, you're spending the time with them. You're not busy texting or emailing when you're with them, and communication and maintaining a stable, consistent routine so the kids have that stability.
Right.
And a supportive spouse definitely helps.
Yes, definitely.
That is awesome. So tell us, one of the things that I love the most about you and that we've really resonated with is you've done the 100-day Listmaster Challenge, and you've done it more than once. How many times have you done the 100-day challenge now?
4. Yeah.
So you're in your fourth.
I think this is my 4th.
Yeah. So you're actually in your 4th one right now. And so in that we do things and we work on things that help you build your business and help you have a life. Could you mind sharing with us like what you did with your children that I think is so powerful, what you've done with your kids and kind of some of the routines you've built in their life to help them grow and prepare them for success?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we do is, we have our like family affirmation, I guess, when we all get in the car in the morning. I just say, what do you say? And then they just go off and they're saying like good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is your better and your better is your best. Right. And so now they know it. They say it every morning. Like even days I forget, they like start randomly saying it. So I think it's just that mentality. And I think we're always like trying to point that out, because a lot of times, right, today it's like, participation award and like all this kind of stuff. And I keep telling my kids, like especially my older one he's only in kindergarten, right? But, needing to realize that, there's competition out there, and we compete every day. Like, our jobs, we compete against other agents every day. Like, that's just a reality. And whoever's more prepared is the one that's going to win. And so I'm trying to instill some of that stuff into them now, because that's what they're going to need in the future. So we do good, better, best. Yeah. Never let it rest until our good is our better is our best. And we have it like posted like right outside, right in our kitchen too. So. Yeah.
That's so awesome. And they do it in the car. When you've shared videos in our Facebook group of this.
Yeah, they'll do it. Yeah, they like scream it. So, and then sometimes, yeah, sometimes they're all funny. Like they make like different jokes or different versions of it, but I know they know it. So then they're like, they're great with it.
And they're like and your oldest is in kindergarten, and Emily is like little bitty. I mean, she's like,
yeah, she's 4. Yeah.
years old now. And they've been doing this now for over a year.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably about a year. Yeah. Since the last mastermind. So like, yeah, maybe 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
Okay. So these are rituals that you guys are building for your kids that help them think and build self-image. It helps them build confidence. It helps them build this a mindset of greatness, of being the best, which I really, really love. And then tell us about the daily ritual that you do with them, or just kind of building that relationship of love with the notes thing.
Yeah, so as part of this 100-day challenge, and then actually like wasn't as consistent when I wasn't doing the challenge, but the last challenge at least, for this one, like we've been like writing notes every day. So I like write them gratitude notes, and it's great for me too, because it's a chance for me to reflect on like what did I enjoy with them every day. And then there's some days where you're super busy and you realize like I really didn't talk to them as much as I probably should have, right? And so, but just kind of finding those little gratitudes of, oh, I'm really glad you shared your dinner with your brother, or it was really great when you were able to write that sentence by yourself. Just the little things. And then they love it, because so after they go to sleep, then I'll write them, and then I'll put them like where they eat breakfast. And so they see it in the morning. And so they're always looking for it. And then the great thing is like when we were doing it like last year, 6 months later, they're like pulling it out and being like, Mommy, what does this one say? And so they love it, because then you just like reminisce like, oh yeah, you did that one time. And, so I think they really liked it. And then from the last challenge, they start writing me notes back saying like, oh, I love you, Mommy, and like all of this kind of stuff too. And so I know that was like that first moment when I realized that like what we teach them and how we are really affects them, and not just like what you say, but what you're doing. And so I think that's a lot of what drives me in terms of like being better, because if I want a standard of the best for my kids, I need to live up to that standard too. So because they need to see how that is. And so, that's for me, a lot of it is what am I projecting onto my kids, and how do I make sure that they're going to be as successful as possible?
Yeah. And they get to see their mom, succeeding, and they become a part of that. And they see the way you show that, and the way their thinking is changed by that is so dramatic.
Yeah.
So tell us about what's next for you guys, because we in the Inner Circle, we talk a lot about financial freedom and building your business so that you can have the life of your dreams. So tell us what you guys are doing, because it's really exciting watching you and David build your future for your family.
Yeah. So I think Dave and I have always, even before we met you, I think we've always been obsessed with like financial freedom. And so my goal is to be financially free by the time I turn 40. So it's coming. And I think, and we're working our way through that. And so the idea would be to retire to Hawaii. My husband's from there, so we have family there and all of that. And to raise our kids there. The weather is a lot nicer there. Life is a little bit slower there, so it's kind of a nice place to be. So that's kind of our goal. And and so we've been working for like the last 6-8 years, since I think probably the last 6 years of like talking about it and just like setting up a plan to do it. Like our original plan was, okay, let's buy one rental property a year, and that's kind of snowballed into other investments and stuff like that, and just really constantly, I mean, my husband is very good at tracking like finances and like knowing like where all the money is and where it's going and how we're investing it and all that kind of stuff. And so so we've been really diligent about, okay, what do we need to become financially free? What does that look like in turn, like down to like details of like, okay, where, like when the kids go to school, like where are we going to get, college payments? Where are we going to do this and that? And so really understanding all of that and just kind of working our plan.
And you guys are not just talking about it, you're actually getting to that point to being
Yeah,
financial.
like we're actively buying investment properties, like investing our money and just like keeping track of like all of it.
Yeah.
So
And you guys are doing, so you have real estate investments and you also do hard money.
right. So we've also been doing like private money with a couple of rehabbers where we're loaning the rehabbers the money to do their deals. And I like that because it's really hands off. We get a great return on our money and I don't have to do anything. So, and it's better than it's sitting in a bank account. It's essentially like that because you're not doing anything. You just get the checks every month. So it's great.
And it's secure because if anything went bad, the money, the loan is secured by the property they're rehabbing.
Right, exactly. So, and most of ours are in Virginia. So, like worst case, I could sell it myself. Like, as an agent, I could just sell them the property. So, yeah.
Well, that is awesome. And then when you guys, and so your goal is get financially free, and then you guys are moving to Hawaii with your family and build your life there.
Yeah.
So tell us what's next. It's just so everybody knows, for the last, I don't know, since, for the last 4 or 5 months, you've been one of our coaches. And
yes.
Peggy is, so just for all of you that are watching this, Peggy is our first, besides me, our first coach for Yes Masters. So you've been doing that 4 months now?
Yeah, since what, February?
March, April. I don't know. It's been this year.
Yeah, this year.
It was February when you started at Double Your Listing Power Training Camp, right?
Yeah, yep.
So how are you liking that? And what do you see happening with that?
Well, I love it. I mean, and I think this was all like going back to like financial freedom because like David and I had a lot of conversations about, okay, well, what are we going to do when we're actually financially free, right? Because I think there's like this, like, and I was this way too, when you think about financial freedom, you're like, oh, this is great. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to, go on vacation whenever I want and, all this stuff. And then kind of reality set in for both David and I. We're like, well, no, that's not going to happen necessarily because we have kids in school. We're trying to teach them to be the best, like this is going to take like discipline on their end, all that kind of stuff. So we kind of realized that it's not just all like, oh, I'm going to like live this crazy like lifestyle. And so really talking about, okay, well, what is that next step? I always thought to myself, okay, if I did not have to work, what would I be doing? Right? Like if once we're financially free, if I don't have to work and I don't it doesn't matter if I work or not, what would I want to do every day? And for me, that was always coaching. And because I had, I have a PhD, right? So I love education. Right. I love like just teaching like people understanding what their struggle is and kind of being that light bulb for them of, okay, this is how you get to the next step, or this is like the thing that you're missing that, is going to help you get to the next place. I love doing that for people. And I think that's what real estate is, right? They want to buy or sell a house. They have no idea how to do it. You're the thing that gets them to the next, what they really want. And so I've always loved doing that. And so coaching was something that I'd always wanted to do. I was, even before you asked me to be a coach, I was a pre-licensing instructor. I signed up to be a pre-licensing instructor and David was like, you can't do this right now. Like, it's like not, I'm like, I want to do it, but it was like, okay, this is not the time to do that. And so coaching was always something I'd wanted to do. And that's, it was part of my, my 20-year plan, my vision of what we were going to do in the future anyways. So I'm super excited about it.
Well, you've got, and why we love having you as a coach, one, because you have the fruit on your tree. You have the fruit on your tree, both as a great real estate professional, as a top producer, who also has a life, and you build more than just selling houses. You also believe in serving your clients and giving them the best results, building relationships, having your family, building financial freedom, everything that I've coached. You are like the perfect example of somebody who does it. And you have such a great presence. You're authentic, you're real with people, you care about them, and it's obvious. And the feedback that we've gotten with our coaching members and all of that has been phenomenal having you on as a coach. So we're very honored and excited about not only having you as a coach now, but what the future holds for us together is going to be awesome. So last words of wisdom, just if you were to give the people that are watching this, real estate agents, new, seasoned, whatever, what would you say are like your final, you get the last word here of what are the secrets of success that you have discovered that would be most helpful for our viewers today?
I think it's a couple of things. One, I think is having a clear vision, like having that understanding, that motivation of what is really motivating you to achieve your goals. Like is it a goal that just you're pulling out of a hat, like then it's not going to be as meaningful as as something that like really like resonates with you and what you want to do. And so like for me, like just having that goal of being financially free, just the idea of not having to work but then wanting to work, like all of that has been a very strong motivator for me. The other really strong motivator for me is my kids, right? Like understanding that how I parent them and how I live has a direct impact on how they're going to grow up. And so I'm always like thinking about that and thinking about like, what am I trying to teach my kids? And so, I think that's a big thing, is like understanding what your motivation is, because all of this stuff is mindset, right? Like your motivation, like all of that. Like there's like an example of if you told somebody to walk across like a tightrope, then would they do it? No. But if they're like baby is on the other side and is about to fall, yeah, you're going over that tightrope, right? And so it's like your motivation changes, and so that for me, a lot of it is like, okay, what's really motivating me to like get up in the morning, to like prospect, to do all this stuff, has been a key. And then I think just being around the right people, that's why I really like the mastermind. Because for me, if I see that like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, I'm like, doing better than most people, then I start to get lazy, right? Because like, oh, it's all good. Like I'm, making a good income, it's fine. And then you see like other people in your circle are making like 10 times as much as you. You're like, okay, I am totally behind, right? And so I really like the fact that like I'm always being challenged to think bigger, challenged to like do more, because it's not, you're just limiting your own beliefs of what somebody can do. But once you see one person do it, then you're like, oh, if one person, like I can do that too. Like, why can't I do that instead of I can't do that? So, so I think just being around the right people has been really helpful for me.
100%. That is so awesome. Well, Peggy, thank you again. I appreciate so much you taking the time, because I know you're extremely busy, have so much going on. Thank you for spending the time with us today to share some great nuggets of wisdom and ideas and strategies. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, if they got a referral for you in Vienna, Virginia, how's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook. You can private message me on Facebook, or you can email me at peggy@peggyee.com. So it's just my name, really easy.
Real simple, peggy@peggyee.com, or they can find you on Facebook and message you that way.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, again, Peggy, thanks for joining us today. Thank you just for your time, for your wisdom, for your insights. For all of you guys watching, thank you for watching us. Make sure that you give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And we'll see you on next month's episode for another great conversation, another interview with the best. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Peggy.
Thanks.